Hello and welcome everyone. My name's Brian Helm. I'm the president of the Mechanical Contractors Association of America. And with me today is Mark McManus, general president of the United Association. We're here today to talk about COVID-19 and the joint effort of the MCAA and UA to address the labor management issues with COVID-19.
Thank you, Brian. And I sure do appreciate the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you, even though it's over at the top of the computer. But I'm real proud, most proud of the relationship we have nationally, not only with yourself, but your governing board and the MCAA headquarters here in Washington, D.C. We've continued to try to do a lot of things collectively, and I think we're moving the ball in real time. But we're under certain circumstances here none of us could even dream of, But the common denominator, I always believe, prior to this, and I think even more so now, and I'll throw an acronym, maybe 3 C's, Brian, that we need to have cooperation, certainly need to have communication, and in these times, we certainly need to have common sense. We have an outbreak across our 2 nations, Canada as well, but certainly real hotspots in different parts of the country. And things that may work in New York City may not work in Iowa right now. And things that we're looking at in Seattle might be looking different in Kansas at this point in time. So I think we're trying to put the best face on it nationally on how we can continue to communicate and cooperate and use that common sense. And I think our best avenue is to bring it down to the local union level and let the chapters, the MCAA chapters and the local union business managers and business agents follow those 3 steps as well, and look after the safety of our folks. I know you guys think that's paramount. We think that's paramount in so many different ways, and look after our contractors, because really what's going to happen here as we get through this, and this country will get through it. We've been through a lot of stuff, Bri. What it's going to look like on the other side. And we want our good signatory contractors in good spots. We want the market share that we've all been striving for collectively to look good, and for you as contractors to be able to bounce back after this pandemic, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So, I think kind of laying out the problem statement would be a good idea because, at the local level, it'll kind of give everyone a baseline to be able to start from. And the way I see it is that right now we're fortunate that we're considered essential work, and almost all the governors and I think nationally, we're able to work on most of the jobs that are critical infrastructure and critical for the life and safety of the country. So that's something that is something to be proud of, even outside of the COVID-19 epidemic, is that we're all considered essential. With that has come some responsibilities and some issues that are what we need to address. And there's definitely two different positions here, 2 different sides, but really there's a lot of common ground in between. And obviously that's mostly focused on safety. It's the safety of the employees and the safety of the public, and that's what we're here for. We're trying to help the safety of the public while also protecting the safety of our employees. So to go a little deeper with that, what we're seeing is that contractors are trying to figure out how to staff the work but also keep everybody safe, with the understanding that sometimes it seems easier to not do the work, and some jobs have to get done, some jobs are super critical, and some jobs, if you took a month off, it probably wouldn't be that big a deal. But sometimes we don't have the luxury of just taking that month off. Number one is we have a lot of employees that like a paycheck and need a paycheck and deserve a paycheck for good work, but also we have customers who have contracts with us, and those contracts were signed months ago, and if we don't progress with the work and complete work, and for sure if we delay the work, we're going to be in default. And so there's a problem with that we need to be able to staff the work that we have contracts for. At the same time, we have UA members and other trades too that are on these same projects, but focusing on the UA, we're trying to keep the UA members safe, and we have work for them, but at the same time it's a lot more difficult to do the work when there's an obligation to social distance. And so a lot of the work activities we do are a lot harder if you have to be 6 feet apart. We also have some challenges on a lot of these job sites where there's restrictions with having to take temperature checks, maybe on the way in or maybe on the way out or both. There's limits in how many people are on skips. There's limits on other working conditions, and so the cost of the work for contractors is going up. We're working as an organization in each one of our companies and on our individual projects to try and get compensated for that, but typically, you know, customers are not that willing to participate in reimbursement for this pandemic, yet at the same time they're wanting us to work. So contractors are trying to figure that out. We're in a little bit of it's a little bit of a problem trying to figure out exactly how to navigate each one of these individual projects. At the same time, we have UA members who, many of which are appreciative of the jobs and want to do the work. Predominantly, that is the mindset. But we also have some situations where unemployment insurance benefits are pretty high right now. And the feds have thrown more money at unemployment, which they should, and which everyone's appreciative of, because there's a lot of people that are out of work, a lot of people outside of construction, and a lot of people inside construction. But we're also finding people who say that, you know, it's beneficial for us or more advantageous to stay home and get a little more on their unemployment check, and the difference between that and the typical wage is not high enough to put myself at risk and my family at risk for whatever I might be bringing home. So as labor, we're trying to navigate that situation, and as contractors, we're trying to work within those constraints but still be able to staff the work. And that leads to some of the questions and problems and issues that we're all trying to address.
Yeah, yeah, sure. That's it in a nutshell. You know, I used a line the other day when I spoke to my membership on the word essential. The President of the United States deemed us as essential, and governors of both parties as essential. And we know, and you know, as contractors, without being deemed that, we know we're essential. We've known that for years and years and years, the health and safety that we protect in this nation. What confounds or adds, exasperates to this problem is the virus itself, with being asymptomatic. So it spooks even more folks. You know, the average UA member, and I think I'm qualified to talk about the average UA member. They want the right tools. They want safe conditions. They want a nice break. They want nice conditions on a job, but they want to put in pipe and they want to be productive. And that's 98% of our folks that want that way. And most times we got to hold them back. I think the nervousness comes with such an unknown thing to our countries with the asymptomatic and how you can be there. And we've all been with the tools climbing over pieces of pipe, and boy, to be 6 feet apart is about the hardest thing to do in a construction job, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible, and we can do that. And I've always said that we do one main thing. Our mission statement here at the United Association is we provide skilled, qualified manpower to signatory contractors. That's what we need to do. And that's what we need to do in tough times as well. We certainly don't think our folks are disposable. We're essential, but we're not disposable. That's what we have to be. And our good contractors recognize that. Our good MCAA contractors recognize that. And we need to talk through what needs to be done almost on a job-by-job basis with the local unions. There's some specific things that need to happen. You know, one story I'll tell just right quick. In New York City, the governor's been aggressive and he's shut a lot of different things down and had us essential and then pulled us back. But then a second go around, using our people with the contractors of the MCAA and in New York City, and building hospitals right in the front lines of the hottest spots, right in Queens, Aqueduct and Jacob Javits Center, and emergency. And the flexibility from the local union and from the contractor base is something to marvel at. And that's what has to happen on a state-by-state basis. That's maybe, lack of a better word at this time, it's maybe ground zero of this virus right at this moment. But as we know, we think it's going to spread, and hopefully less rather than more. But there's cities inundated all over the place. And, you know, maybe I'll throw back to you, Brian, your company. I hope everyone is safe and good in your family. But how is business specifically to your company on hot spots. I know that you're right in the Midwest, and that's starting to get hot as well.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, we luckily everybody in my company is healthy right now, and so we're fortunate for that, and we've been staying in pretty good communication with everybody, because people just want to be able to hear a familiar voice and talk through this kind of thing with somebody that's familiar, which is kind of what you and I are doing today with the MCAA and the UA members. Specifically for our company, we've spent a lot of time and effort trying to keep our people safe and healthy. I mean, that the health part of safety is something that maybe when times are really good, we don't focus on the health and wellness as much as we do the safety, protection and the confined space and that. But health is on everybody's mind right now, and we're scrambling. We're working with some of the ethanol plants that we work with, trying to create hand sanitizer to get out to the job sites, because we can't buy it off the shelf. We're making sure we take more hand washing breaks, making sure that we social distance, working remotely when it's possible to work remotely. A lot of fabrication, because there we can probably even you always look for like in times of war where you're more innovative. I think in times of war, like we're in right now, we're a little more innovative in what we do in the fab shop, because there we're able to work and stay a little more socially distanced, and so it lets us spool more than what we typically might, and look at things a little bit different, so that when a spool comes to the job site, you put a person at each end and a hoist in the middle, and you're socially distanced. So we're trying to be smart about that. Other business things, besides safety, I think number two, the biggest threat or challenge for us is just where we come out of this as a country and as an industry, and where the economy goes. I think you said at the beginning, it was well said, that we'll get through this, everything will be fine. But that recovery time, is it going to be like a light switch where it flips back on, or is it going to be a slow, steady build up like the 2009, 2010, 2011 that took us, seems like forever to get out of, right? In retrospect. So that's the second challenge. The third one is, just trying to figure out how to staff the work that we have, and make sure that our customers are happy, and keep our customers, and be able to run work efficiently, run work the way that we would if there wasn't COVID-19, with the constraints that everybody's putting on us and that we're putting on ourselves, trying to keep everybody healthy. So it's definitely a challenge. We're busier trying to figure out how to get work done than we ever have been. Typically the rush is get work, run work, rinse and repeat, and now it's try and figure out how to do it in a healthy manner. And like I said, it's fun, it's mostly positive, and we're going to get out of this being a lot smarter, I think, as an industry, and for sure we are as a company. So I want to circle back though, Mark, on what you said about we're essential but we're not dispensable, because I think that is something that it's very well said. That's a great talking point, and something that I want to make sure that everybody in the UA, all of our labor partners, understand that where MCAA is coming from, that we really believe that that the UA members that we have good work for, that we want to keep them safe, and we're going out of our way to make sure that that nobody's perceiving anybody as being dispensable. Hopefully our customers aren't looking at us as being dispensable, and similarly we're not working at the hard working men and women that put the work together for us, that they're not dispensable. So Mark, have you seen anything around the country that I know there's been a lot of real positives, and anything else you want to share with us on some of those positive things that have been going on around the country?
Yeah, there is a lot of good positive news, Brian. And we just yesterday cut a video as well and put up part on our website, a one-stop shopping of all the good stories for the United Association. We want them going into the local union business managers from our membership. and then we're going to bring them into headquarters. And that's good for our social media, and that's good for our UA journal. But where it's real good collectively for this conversation in our industry, and one thing that we're doing tremendously well, and we're working in lockstep, and we have for a long period of time, is it is the best lobbying tool for the folks that are deeming us essential, that need to look after the workers of America, and multi-employer pension relief. If we can show the stories of what your company is doing, and what like-minded companies are doing, and what the national MCAA is doing, and what the local unions are doing. I know we've donated masks back in New Jersey, and the governor called out local unions specifically, Local 24 out in Paducah, Kentucky. The same thing with the masks and the ventilators. We're working on some of the GM and the Ford plants right now with modified agreements under Mike Pleasant, under the NMA, to produce the ventilators that are in short supply, and dual ventilators that are coming off of the production line. It looks like maybe the end of April we'll have the first ones coming off. So there is a lot of good stories, as I said, New York City and Chicago and Seattle, Los Angeles, and all of California and Boston. It's good stuff. But I do want to double back one more time, because it's the most important thing for the contractor base, and maybe not the most important, but the biggest worry at this point in time, staffing the job. So I do reiterate that essential and not disposable or dispensable, but I do believe that we have to man our job sites in a safe and productive way. We have to be productive in these ways, and 80% of our jobs across the nation are that way right now. We have hiccups and hotspots where we have to look at specific things and maybe specific guidelines going in. But if the good contractors are laying out with good communications from the local unions and the folks on the job site, they want to be safe and they want their brothers and sisters to be safe. There's no reason that we can't be manning that job site the way we always want to do. We want to be, I think it's good mentally for a journey person or apprentice to be out of the house and working, number one, rather than sitting back, watching the news and getting all consumed with it. It brings the paycheck in, and that's most important, and it keeps your companies running and being productive. But I think it's good mental health as well too. If you're on a good productive job site and you're part of society and you're part of helping other people to beat this pandemic back, working on pharmaceuticals or hospitals or sanitizer plants or all the different paper mills, all those things matter on the health of this country that we've always done. So I urge our business managers absolutely to staff our jobs, man our jobs the way they've always done, with the quality folks that we have, and have that conversation as you're dispatching the folks to the job. Have a business agent talk to a superintendent, maybe together right on a job site as we're staffing up and ramping these jobs. And that's very, very important. And I can't thank you enough for walking arm in arm with us on some of the legislative battles that seems like they never get solved for us. But the MCAA and UA has been great partnerships on some of this pension legislation, the unemployment expansion. You've been with us. We understand that looks like a hurdle. Sometimes guys are making a couple extra bucks, but you were all in for that. And even the COBRA payments that we're looking for the workforce, you get value, and we appreciate that, Brian.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark. I think that's really well said. I want to just thank everyone for their time. Of course, thank you, General President McManus, for sitting down and addressing this, because I know this is all contractors right now and all UA members they're nervous about the future. We're not sure where things are going to go. We're fortunate to be working right now, even though it's challenging and even though there's some problems. But the fact that we're able to sit down at a national level and talk about these things and have an honest, open discussion and put some tough issues on the table speaks volumes for the relationship that the two organizations have. So I thank you for your time today, and I hope everyone out there stays healthy. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I sure appreciate it as well, Brian. Stay safe.